This is a web app that has tons of antivirus features, and in this video we are going to create such functionalities. So just smash that subscribe button and let's get started. Okay, so if you have been to a store to get a laptop, there is always a feeling if what you are buying is an original piece of equipment. Well, with this feature you do not have to worry anymore. We will start simple by checking if all the keyboard are functional. Let's write the script. Let's call it keyboard.js. And let's start writing some antivirus code with JavaScript. And it is quite easy actually. We import the node key sender and assign it to a variable ks. Of course, you can name it whatever you want. Then we just create a function to test if all the keyboards are working. Call it test keyboard. In here we assign a variable, keyboard keys, to all the keys we want tested. We print something like checking keyboard. And then with a try and catch block, we write the function to check if all the keyboard keys are working. With the import and the variable ks, we get the method sendText, which we pass in the keyboard keys variable, and then print something if it succeed, like all keyboard keys are working. Then we just handle the error and print some useful information to know what is going on. Then we call the function, and you have your pretty neat JavaScript antivirus code. Let's test it. Nodekeyboard.js. And there we go. Of course, my computer keyboard keys are working, but this is very good and assuring if you are trying to buy a laptop. There are so many features you can do, and coming up we will see an antivirus that detects USB drives and scans them for threat. And also, if you want to test all the antivirus features we will implement in the video, I created the web app just for that. Moving on to our second antivirus feature, which we will write with JavaScript. Again, hold on Python developers, I will get to you soon, I promise. This antivirus feature is really something people need, especially people with no IT background or have limited knowledge about computers. We call it spec.js. And what this does is check your system, give you all the details like CPU, platform, and recommend if this machine is good for gaming, editing, or just for office work. I know this is a hassle for most people trying to buy a machine, so let's quickly write the code. And for the non-programmers, you can check the website, link in the description, to make things much easier if you want to use it. We will need OS. And then the function, call it getMachineSpecs. We will get the specs by utilizing the methods given to use by OS. Then return it. Then we create a function to determine if it can be used for gaming, for editing, and whatnot. This is really simple. We just need some few details from the specs we returned earlier from the function, and then determine if it is good for movies, editing, and others. Then we use conditional statements to return a message to the user. So if it is gaming, we display the message accordingly. Same applies for each of the other condition. We assign getMachineSpecs to a variable and print an appropriate message. And we assign recommend usage to a variable and print an appropriate message. Nice. Let's test it out. Node checkspec.js. And there we go, and at the end we get to see that my machine is recommended for gaming, which is pretty neat and very convenient for anyone who wants to buy a laptop. Also, antivirus is not all about checking for viruses. This could be a cool feature in an antivirus software as well. But don't worry, we will get to creating some virus checking features soon. But let's write some Python antivirus feature. I promised my Python developers. So for Python, we are going to create a feature that checks if a site is malicious and should not be trusted. We all browse websites every day, and it will be very good to know if a site can be trusted or not. Let's get into it. We name the file. Let's go with unsafewebsite.py. We will need to import requests. Import JSON. Then the function to make our feature possible. You will need a Google Cloud API key and also enable the Safe Browsing API. After that, you are good to go. We will need the URL, a payload, and let me just copy and paste this because most of this are not off-head. Then we get our response by using request.post pass in the URL, and the data to be json.dumps, and pass in the payloads. And hey, if you do not understand any of the code I write, please hit me up in the comment section and I will help you gladly. So back to the code, we check if the response is okay. If it is, we get the data from the response and make conditional statements. This is pretty easy from here out. So speed code. And as you have always seen in thousands of code, if name is equal to main, you get your API key and allow the user to enter the website. Then we call the function. Developers, simple as that. We have an antivirus feature. Let's try it out. People.com, and it is safe. YouTube.com, and shocker, it is safe. I do not know any unsafe websites. Please comment below if you do, and let's all test it out. Now JavaScript is already winning, having 2 against 1 on Python, so let's write another simple antivirus feature before we do the USB corrupt checker thing. This antivirus feature checks for speed of your internet connection, and this will be a speed code, but we are using the library speed test. So, speed code. There we go, let's try it out. And there we go, testing internet speed. We get download speed, upload speed, and ping speed. Awesome. Now to the feature that antiviruses are known for, checking for viruses. We will try and detect viruses when we insert USB drives because I think they are one of the most common way we get viruses on our machines. So we name the file and import OS, #lib, and JSON. And in here we are going to write 4 functions to make it possible to create an antivirus. We first calculate the hash of the file. This makes us know if it is corrupted. We use the #lib, and with this, we get to know the file integrity in each folder of the USB drive. We also have to save the hash files so we can compare them later. This way we know if the file is corrupted, because if its file integrity was AABC and now it is BBCA, then we know something happened to the file. In our case, it was corrupted. We, of course, need to load the hash for comparison, and OS helps us with that. Pretty simple. Also, I cannot stress this enough. If you do not understand the code, please reach out in the comment section. I will help you out. Our last function is, of course, to check the files in each directory, go through each of them, calculate their hash, and update the user accordingly with conditional statements, with each having their print statement. Now we ask for the external device path, and at this point, speed code. Don't worry, we checked if the path inputted existed, and we called the functions we created earlier. Before we run the code, all this code can be found on GitHub. Link in the description. Let's run the code and see what we got. Well, there we go. It is going to take a lot of time if the files are a lot. And with my USB drive inserted, we have 64 GB to go through. So it will take a while, from checking if our keyboard keys work to checking files in external devices. We got nice antivirus features, and you can find them all integrated on this web app. Code GitHub link in the description. And by the way, do not tell anyone but Python 1. That is it for today, guys, and until next time, adios.